Welcome to Deco Guide, the only app designed to help you navigate your college and career journey in the quickest and most affordable way. This podcast is brought to you by EdTechity, dedicated to opening doors to higher education and career opportunities for all.
Hey y'all, welcome to our What Would You Do series, where I get to ask professionals unscripted questions about what they would do to overcome obstacles in college and beyond. Today we have Professor G to ask a series of questions. Hey Professor G, so what would you do if you keep failing your classes?
Ooh, I keep failing my classes. So that's happened to me a couple times, right, in my educational journey. And then as I work with students, I see thousands. Today in particular, I saw at least 4 students who are on academic probation or even on dismissal. So what happens, and I'll explain what those are in just a second. What happens is a lot of times when we sign up for college classes, we're not really taught how to survive a class. We're taught which classes you have to take. We're taught, when you should take them, but we're not taught how to survive the class. And so I want to be very clear here. Whenever you sign up for any class, okay, that class is going to have a certain number of hours that you're going to be in lecture. Okay. So for example, at my school right now where I'm working at Sacramento City College, you sign up for a 3-unit class for 1 semester. That 1 semester, you're going to put in about 56 hours of lecture, okay, for that 1 class. And this is where students make a mistake. They only do the 56 hours of lecture. And they say, oh, I went to class. Well, that's going to get you an F. If all you're doing is going to class, you're going to fail, okay? Mm-hmm. Get too many Fs in a row, and you'll be put on academic probation. Get a few more Fs and you're going to be dismissed from the college, which basically means the college kicks you out for a semester. You can come back, but they want you to take a break to really put your life together and really start to understand what it's going to take for you to come back. And then you can come back. So what I want to be clear here about is you always have to look at the class description for how many hours you have to put in of lecture. And that's just the start. After you realize, okay, I got to put in 56 hours of lecture, this class meets 2 or 3 times a week, and those are your hours of lecture. You have to double the amount of hours in homework and all other things for the college. So it's 56 hours of lecture for 3 units, but it's 112 hours of homework, study groups, office hours appointment with your professors, you know what I mean? Studying, reading, watching YouTube videos, doing additional assignments, right? Group work, so that you can pull off an A or a B in that class, right? And for those of you who are getting a lot of Fs in college, when I see a student that has a bunch of Fs in college, I ask them, how much time are you really putting in every day to reading and homework that's outside of the lecture, right? Mm-hmm. And for the most part, those students with Fs are putting in almost 0 hours a week in additional homework and additional study time. So don't be fooled by the 56 hours. It's 56 plus another 112. So now you're leaning towards, close to 175 or so hours for that 1 class. Now, what if you're taking 4 classes? That's 100 and something hours for every single class. So that's where it really, becomes overwhelming for some students to be able to put in that amount of time. So I tell students that are taking too many classes, I go, you need to reduce that. You need to reduce that to 1 or 2 classes per week if your life is too busy for you to put in the time. Right? For my homie students, I say, look, you can either do this. You can put in the time on the streets, which usually leads you to putting in the time in incarceration, or you can put in the time in studying, right? And you can put in the time in going to the lectures. You can put in that same amount of time elsewhere. And guess which one leads you to a professional career? It's the one that where you decided, you know what? It's time for me to read 3 hours today. Right? Because I know that professor in that 1 class expects us to have those readings completed before that next class, right? And that's what college students, really get good at, is they get good at balancing work, right? They get good at balancing their life and all of the work that needs to be put in order to survive college. Now, if you find yourself, okay, let me ask you this, Karina, have you ever been on academic probation or dismissal?
No.
See, so you put in the time. Mm-hmm. So you would put in the time. You would not only go into class, and I would imagine that you would do the study groups. You would do the readings, at least most of them, right? Because sometimes, you might get an easy class where you don't need to put in that kind of time. But for the most part, you're going to put in some time. I, unfortunately, when I was younger, I didn't really understand that I got to put in all this extra time into my classes. So yeah, I got some F's in my record. But here's the thing about college is you get D's and F's, that's okay. We can totally, address those either by repeating the class or by doing things like academic renewal, where you can actually discount D's and F's you got in the past, right, from your classes. And so check out some of our other content on Techo Guide, and you'll start to learn more about what the academic probation means, academic dismissal, because everyone should know that, right, is that if my grades start to drop, what can I do to save them? Okay. Last thing, sometimes you get bad grades by no fault of you, right? Emergencies happen all the time, right? Where you have to literally stop going to college and address a family issue, right? Address an employment issue, address a housing issue, address a health issue, right? Those things happen. If that happens to you, right? I want you to know that you can immediately go to your college's admissions and records office, right, and ask for you can ask for an emergency withdrawal. You can, potentially even drop your classes if it's ahead of the drop deadline date, in order for you not to get a bunch of D's or F's in college. Nowadays, now that I know everything else about how to avoid getting D's or F's, I tell all my students, there's no reason you should get a D or an F in college. We give you plenty of time to drop the class. We give you plenty of opportunities to withdraw, do an emergency withdrawal if you have to, right? Based on family situation or your personal life situation. And there's really no need for you to take a D or an F in college anymore, as long as you are aware of the calendar dates and following the rules. So again, see your college counselor there at your campus, see them often, ask them about those grading options and how to avoid D's and F's at that particular college. And I'm sure they'll be happy to help.
Thank you, Professor G. That was very helpful.
Thank you for tuning into Techo Guide, the app focused on bringing you tools and content to help you make better decisions about school, life, and career. We hope this episode has inspired you to pursue and excel in your own educational and career journey. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and share.